We're going to move on to interesting topics of the day. Yes. Star Wars being one of them. They have left the building. Chewie has left the building.
Literally.
Literally. This first one, though, I just learned about it. Robbie brought it to my attention in the middle of us doing some cut-ins for the newscast coming up. Omarosa out at the White House?
Yeah, I think this came out of the blue because the political news is big news today just because of the election and whether it went your way or it did not go your way. It is a big story about who was elected senator in Alabama.
Yeah.
So to have different political news surpass it on the Twitter trend, I thought, well, what the heck is going on here? And it just said Omarosa. So as we're learning, it appears through several sources that Omarosa is now out of the White House. And then immediately when something like this happens, all you know is that this person is out. And then there's a game about who gets to tell the story. So immediately there were some sources saying, well, we saw the writing on the wall the last time that we spoke with her. She just was ready to move on. She didn't like being in the limelight. She was tired about talking about the president all the time. Wanted to spend more time with her husband.
I do not believe this.
Me either.
So the other part of the story is that a very well-known journalist, her name's April Ryan, she's in all those press briefings. And sometimes the story is if she gets called on to get a question or not.
Right.
But anyway, she's reporting that she's got several sources saying that the chief of staff, General Kelly, is the one who actually fired her. There was a huge exchange. And remember, in the White House last night, the story is who's going to win this election in Alabama. And somehow this story is now taking all of the air out of the room because Omarosa is very well known. She was on Celebrity. She was not on Celebrity Apprentice.
She was a villain.
Exactly. She was on the original Apprentice when it was just people wanting to work for the Trump Corporation. So anyway, she's been the president's one of
senior aide.
Yeah, exactly. But been with him the longest. We all know that he is all about loyalty. And so if it was her choice or if she was removed by the chief of staff, it is going to change the makeup of how that White House operates. And a lot of people aren't sure exactly what she did or didn't do.
The most prominent African-American face of Trump's White House. She's working on outreach to HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, and racial disparities in the military justice system.
The black community, for the most part, does not support Omarosa. And I say this as a Hispanic woman who is part of a historically black sorority who goes to NABJ, NAHJ every year. She was just at NABJ this past year in New Orleans, the National Association of Black Journalists. She was there to speak on a police brutality panel. It turned into a conversation about her role in the Trump administration and how she felt she needed to be there as a representation of the black community. And the black community spoke back and said, how are you the face of our community when you don't relate to a number of the issues that we deal with every single day? And it got heated. I don't know if you...
People stopped going to those, whatever, when you go to those courses, whatever.
The plenaries.
Exactly. People even said, I'm not going because I don't feel comfortable bringing my issues to the plate when she's there on the panel.
Right. Wow. But the people that were there, you can hear, I don't know if we have the video, but in the video, the uproar when Ed Gordon starts walking towards her in his line of questioning about her role in the White House, you can hear the crowd get energized to hear what she's going to say, but then they never quite addressed it. She thought she was going to be there to speak about her father and her son, or I believe her husband and her son. Yes, I'm not sure actually. But anyway, the line of conversation definitely took a shift, and Black Twitter went wild against Omarosa. Well, today Black Twitter is in defense of her. Oh, yes. Oh, Black Twitter is strong and proud and loud, and they will take you down or they will raise you up. And today, they're kind of raising her up, and April Ryan's memes are also winning, so I will bring those up as we talk.
Okay, so Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said that she resigned Tuesday to pursue other opportunities and that her departure will be effective January 20th. That's when President Trump took office a year ago. So I guess the question is, did she resign or was she let go? I guess we won't really ever know until it becomes publicly known. I was just on her Twitter, and the only thing she has is from 5 hours ago, and it's just a picture of her and her husband, and it's just like a card that says Merry Christmas. So there's really nothing that she's posting, and even on Donald Trump's Twitter, he's not posting anything either.
So this is, I think, whether you think she has a big role or not, it still changes the nature of the White House.
Well, we have one change after yesterday with the Democrat as a senator of Alabama, one of the two, and then you have then this changes it in a different way.
Exactly, and I think one of the central questions that a lot of journalists ask and just observers is, how functional is the White House? They have an agenda, they want to accomplish certain things, but it seems like all these stories that you hear, we're not there, we're just observers, right? That there's just a lot of infighting and chaos, and if you look at the number of departures over the years and chief of staff moving in, the big open question is who's in charge, who's running the day-to-day operations, and if the story has any merit that April Ryan's talking about, that she did not resign on her own, that the chief of staff forced that decision upon her, then you have a situation where now you've got the chief of staff potentially arguing with the president himself, and that is even more dysfunction. So just functioning day to day just seems to be an ongoing thing. Every day there's some story coming out about how people are leaving or going or who's really in charge, and this just adds to that whole aura of what's going on.
That's assuming that President Trump didn't also want her out of the White House, and we haven't heard from him yet.
Right.
And I believe, and this might be a conspiracy theory,
Okay.
but when you have a loss and you have pie in your face or egg in your face or whatever they say, the best thing to do is get a bigger story. This is winning. This is winning.
And
so
people
this
will
was
say he's
created,
really good
this
at that.
situation was created as a distraction.
Yes.
So we're talking about Omarosa versus who won in Alabama.
Absolutely.
But to some, that story, you say Omarosa, people still never take her seriously. You still consider her the villain of a reality show who made her way and is part of his posse, if you will. So
she has said time and time again, she thinks that she helped get President Trump elected by the handful of Black Americans who did vote for him.
Again, I mean, I don't know, and maybe this is speaking, it's like, do you ever take Omarosa actually seriously when it comes to politics?
And unfortunately, I think some people do.
I just don't think this is a big enough story for us to deflect. We are still knowing what's going on and all the drama that's ensuing, and the sexual allegations and the new ones that are coming forward, and the Democratic senators who are saying we need you to resign, President Trump. So I mean, there are much bigger fish frying up at the White House, and I just think that this is an interesting one that'll cause a lot of people to talk for 2 minutes, but I don't know.
But to speak to the issue of representation in the White House of minorities in general, why not call on people like April Ryan who have important probing questions to ask every time? President Trump or even Sarah Huckabee Sanders, they look down on her and they speak badly towards her and about her, and you can't have an administration that supports all people when in times when all eyes are on you, all cameras are on, you are disrespectful to one of our leading journalists.
Right. And she wasn't even invited to the White House Christmas party. And then she said, well, I wouldn't go anyway. So there's a whole bunch of side stories going on there. Okay, what are some of the comments?
Well, what is her Twitter saying? Go ahead.
Okay, so April Ryan, she just tweeted literally just a few minutes ago, not minutes, let me say 25 minutes ago. Okay, the White House still contends Omarosa signed a resignation letter, but General Kelly kicked her out. Well, high drama with the minister offering vulgarities and curse words as she was escorted out of the building and off campus. So that's what she's saying. And like you said, she is a reputable reporter in the White House. So for her to say this, and she has such a big following, it's like, ooh, who do we believe? Who do you trust in this case? You know?
So do you want to go more conspiracy theory? And again, this is not.
Please,
I'm not getting into politics here.
Everyone's saying hi to Chewy, by the way.
So I want everyone to view this story as basically any sort of workplace drama. Okay. So forget about your politics here for a second, because I do think that this becomes much more interesting. So last month, a story in Politico talked just about her, and not necessarily her role, but something that she did that caused a lot of people in the White House to be very upset. She brought her whole bridal party in, 39 people, unannounced, without permission, for a whole photo shoot in the White House, in the Rose Garden, and the West Wing. And apparently, when that happened, it ruffled so many feathers that perhaps there is a connection. Again, take politics out of this for a second. Imagine this happening in any workplace. Imagine this happening at Intel in Folsom, right? And everyone's doing their job, whatever it is that they do. And then all of a sudden, someone who works there brings in something that's very distracting and unannounced and all of that. And then how would those co-workers feel about that situation down the road? Perhaps, again,
I'm sure she's not
taking politics out of this, perhaps that was just too much.
I believe that would be too much.
That's her thing, right? To be too much and be extra, as they call it. Like, she's always been the most. Like, come on a red carpet. Even as reporters, like, she'll come on the red carpet and you're kind of like, do you need the interview? Because you know it's going to go and it's going to take a drive. It's like, do we care? I don't know. But in terms of representation, absolutely, it's important.
So what are people saying in the comments?
People are saying, well, your mom, Marion Daytil, says, Omarosa has never really spoken anything in substance, in my opinion. Loy says, ABC 10, I really don't care. She wasn't making any difference by being there. I do agree, however, it is PR 101. This is likely out to distract from Alabama. So she agrees with us on that part. I agree. Mary says, why are we listening to this garbage? Reggie Cepeda, maybe there's something else going on behind the scenes. I'm absolutely almost positively sure that's what's happening. And then some more love for Chewy. Janet Piper, given all the information, then it's probably best that she does step down, given all of what's happened.
I think it's a smart career choice to not be a part of this administration.
For her?
For her.
But doesn't this keep her in the headlines and keep her relevant?
This gives her a book deal.
She had a book deal before that.
This book deal about getting her butt kicked out of the White House will make this woman even richer than she could have even imagined.
Okay, so according to CNN Politics, it is traditional for administrators to experience a spate of departures after the first year in office, but Trump's year has been particularly bruising, leaving some officials preparing for more departures than usual. So I don't know if we can even take account of how many people were either fired or let go. I remember just in like the first couple months, there was a lot of people who were on that chopping block. And so with her leaving, I mean, again, it could be a PR move. We don't know, but we'll see it's one of those things.
From an administration who struggled to fill its cabinet and to literally have people work in the White House, it is hemorrhaging people quicker than it's bringing them on. And what does that say, again, to what you were saying about the productivity of the White House? What kind of real work is getting done?
Again, just take your politics out for a second. If you need a fully functioning whatever it is and there's a bunch of empty chairs, it just makes it harder to get anything done.
Amen.
For whatever, again, politics out, it's just hard to get things
Even
done.
our job, if it was just one of us sitting here, how would we have this conversation?
Super hard. We need all the comments from everyone.
Appreciate your comments. Good morning to Amanda Barker, David Wong. Perhaps Omarosa believes in the adage, it is easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission. Gee, I wonder why she left, says TJ Longacre. Oh, I like your last name, Longacre. Look at me trying to be fancy. Longacre.
I like the fancy version.
She's really trying.
I'm reading on the fly, so it's like I don't have time to process.
Okay, so originally I said that Black Twitter was supporting her, but Black Twitter is going in, and it is great. It is great.
Oh, they're not supporting her?
It's a mixed bag.
Because that was like, how are they supporting all of a sudden?
No, it's a mixed bag.
If they like her, they don't.
All of the sips tea memes that are on Black Twitter, do you see this? This is great. This is good stuff. And then they have April Ryan.
If you say something and it's like shady, just like.
Oh, yes. Let me find you some April Ryan ones, because April Ryan is notorious for having the best faces in those press meetings.
How she reacts to the questions or the answers.
Yes, or just being straight disrespected. And
interesting.
The memes are good.
Okay, we will keep you updated on this one. We're going to keep searching for that face.
Yes.